Hey, it's me, MLB. This is your Wednesday one-shot featuring Shoto Todoroki and Decay Nene Tomura Shigaraki. I won't give too much away, but in this one-shot you are the sister of Shoto Todoroki. The rest will be revealed as we go, so just sit back, relax, listen and enjoy. This one's titled Taken. The end of another boring day at your part-time job working at the local supermart. Oi, Yin, your co-worker called out. Can you take the bins out the back? Yeah, you called back, adjusting your work apron and dusting your hands off. Is it just the red bin tonight, or red and black bins? You walked down the aisle towards where your co-worker had called from. Red and black, came the reply. Ugh, you grimaced. Take the stick, the co-worker called again, after hearing your noise of displeasure. Yeah, you replied, walking to the cupboard to get the stick. Being the back dock of a supermarket, there were some pretty large rats that kind of lived among the bins out there, and some of them were huge. Once you swear you saw a possum or raccoon, but when you got closer you realised it was a massive frickin' rat, and you screamed so loud that your soul nearly floated right out of your body. No one believed that it was that big when you told them, but ever since then you always carried a stick with you when you went to put the bins out, because you felt like you at least had a chance against a rat that size if you had something to whack it with. Okay, if I'm not back within 10 minutes, call the undertaker because I've been mauled by a rat, you said to your colleague before grabbing the stick, flicking them a stiff salute, then pushing the back door open and heading out to the dock. It was dark outside, and you held your stick up threateningly as you walked straight to where the bins were. It was unusually quiet, but you were on a mission to get the bins to the roadside, then back inside yourself before a rat the size of a horse hunted you down. Walking to the black bin first, you grabbed the handle and pulled on it, but suddenly you were grabbed from behind, one hand firmly slapped over your mouth with their pinky finger held off your skin, and the other hand around your wrist, pulling you back so fast that you almost fell over. Screaming into your attacker's hand, you tried to flick your stick back to hit them, but they dodged, and then your stick disappeared. Whether it was disintegrated or pulled from your hand was unknown to you, but then you were spun around and slammed back first up against the wall of the supermarket so quickly it almost winded you, with your attacker in front of you now and their hand still over your mouth. The more you screamed and struggled, the more your attacker pinned you against the wall, using their body weight to sandwich you there. I wouldn't struggle anymore if I were you, the hooded figure said in a low, dark voice, unless you want to lose your hand. You became aware of their grip on your wrist and you froze. Does this person have some kind of explosion, disintegration or limb removing quirk? You wondered suddenly. Not wanting to move and find out, you stayed still. You're coming with me, the person said, their small red eyes only just visible under the rim of their black hoodie that was shielding most of their face. And if I don't? You mumbled into the palm of their hand, your words muffled beyond recognition. I'll take that as a yes, your captor mused, moving their hands from your wrist and wrapping it around your neck so that one hand was on the front of your neck and the other was still on your mouth. One wrong move and I'll disintegrate you so fast not even your family will be able to find your ashes. Reality was starting to set in. You were either going to die right there or be kidnapped, and your mind blanked. Your hooded assailant pulled you off the wall by your neck and stepped in behind you, keeping his front pressed to your back. Walk, he hissed lowly into your ear, sliding his hand from the front of your neck to the back. You walked numbly forwards. With purpose, he walked you off the dock area to a van that was parked just around the corner, and the back doors were opened for you and him to hop in. Good going, a voice from inside the van greeted your attacker. You got her easy. Yeah, another voice added. Even though she's a Todoroki, she didn't seem to have put much of a fight in. So they know who I am, you panicked internally, your eyes flicking to each of the people in the van. No fight at all, your captor said, his hand still around the nape of your neck. Everything's going to plan. You turned your head slightly to try and get a better look at who had taken you, just as they pushed their hoodie off their head. As the black fabric slipped back and settled at the base of his neck, a messy mop of greyish light blue hair fell forwards and hung loose, the fringe part of his hair falling over his eyes in uneven waves. Your heart jumped as his bright red irises fell onto yours, and his chapped lips pulled it into a creepish smirk, the scarring on his upper lip making your mouth run dry. She's very obedient, your captor purred in a deep voice as he kept looking at you, the tips of 4 of his fingers pressing a little harder into your skin to remind you that you are still very much detained. Who are you? You asked, your voice coming out far stronger than you expected it was going to, considering just how fast your heart was pounding at that moment. Shigaraki Tomura, the leader of the League of Villains, he announced boldly. Your eyes widened. You'd heard of the League of Villains from your father, Endeavour, and your brother Shoto. Oh, crap, you hissed internally. Are they kidnapping me to get to Dad? You know who I am, you stated. You said my last name. Yes, I know who you are, Yin Todoroki, he said, that creepy smile coming back. I've taken you for a reason, which you've probably already figured out by now. You nodded a little, feeling him grip you harder the minute you moved. Yeah, it's to get Dad, but Dad doesn't care about me, so... Your train of thought was interrupted by the van stopping, and you looked up to try and see out the window. Get up, Shigaraki commanded, and slowly you rose to your feet with him still gripping your neck. One of the other villain members opened the back door of the van, and Shigaraki ushered you out and walked you straight to the doors of the warehouse. Then inside and down the hall to a small room where he walked you and himself into the room, turned the dim light on and locked the door. I need to bluff or something. I need to try and scare him. I need to try and escape, you thought, stepping away from him the second he let go of your neck. So you know who I am, you said, rubbing your neck as you stared at him. Yes, we went over this in the van, he replied. So you know I have a strong quirk then, you replied with a smirk. He grinned maliciously at you, his yellowish, uneven teeth showing in the dim light of the room. You think I don't know about your quirk, he replied hauntingly. Come on then, Yin, show me. He took a step towards you, and you held both hands out in front of you as if you were about to blast him with something from the palms of your hands. Don't come any closer, you warned. He took another step. Come on, he provoked. Do it. I will, you replied sternly. I'll do it. You took a step back as he stepped forward. Do it, Yin. I will, you replied again, stepping back once again, your back pressing into the wall behind you. Shigaraki grinned again, and he suddenly lunged at you, his sudden move scaring you into setting your quirk off, a light mist rising from the palms of your hands and enveloping the two of you. Shigaraki hummed. Just as I thought. A mist quirk. Useless. Tears pricked the corners of your eyes. Those were the exact same words your father had used to describe you. Oh yeah? You replied in a challenging tone as he pinned you to the wall. Why did you steal me then, if you know my quirk is useless? Sure, I can't fight back, but that also means that my dad won't care if I die either. If you wanted him to come and save someone, you should have picked a different sibling. Shigaraki's face neared yours. So close. Too close. His chapped lips were just off from yours, and you held your breath. Who says getting Endeavour to come here was my only motive? He asked slowly, his lips brushing yours. For some reason, this was extremely hot. Yes, this random guy had just kidnapped you, but damn, him alluding to the fact that he had kidnapped you because he fancied you was kinda hot. Okay, really hot. Without truly understanding why, you kissed him. Your soft lips crashed into his firm, scratched-up ones, and there, against the inside of the warehouse, you made out, until suddenly the door behind him was smashed into a million pieces as a wall of ice crashed through it, and your brother's voice broke the silence. Yin! Shoto, you shouted after ripping your lips from Shigaraki's. Step away from her. Todoroki's deep, threatening voice echoed into the room as he stepped off his ice path and held his ice hand out, threatening to shoot another round ice from it. Or what? Shigaraki retorted, turning around to face your brother, but standing in front of you as if protecting you. I'll freeze you, Todoroki replied threateningly, his heterochromic eyes narrowing as his fringe fell lower across his face. I'd like to see you try, Shigaraki replied, reaching to his pocket and pulling out a severed hand to place it over his face. You saw and freaked out immediately. What the hell? What the frick? What? Was that a hand? Has he just placed a severed, dead hand over his face? Quickly calculating the trajectory of the ice, Todoroki realized that he couldn't hit Shigaraki head-on because there was a risk that he'd also hit you behind, and he didn't want to do that, so instead fired his ice off to the side in the hopes that it would make Shigaraki step out of the way, and then you could make a run for it. But Shigaraki stood firm, and instead reached his hand out and touched the ice, crumbling it in an instant. You went to take a step away, but Shigaraki somehow felt your movements and called back to you. Don't move, you're staying with me. No, she's not, Todoroki called. I won't let you take my sister. What if she wants to stay with me? Shigaraki sneered. She wouldn't, Todoroki replied, glancing at you. You didn't know what to say just then, so acted dumb for the moment. Just then there was a yell from outside the warehouse, and you heard someone calling something about a Nomu being defeated and Endeavour arriving. That's when Shigaraki saw the sign to leave, and immediately a purple swirling mist appeared to your right, and he jumped through it, disappearing off into the unknown. You stared at the purple warp gate as it closed up, and then Todoroki had you in his arms. Are you okay? He asked, pulling back and checking you over worriedly. Your coworker called me. He said you went missing and You came to save me, you ended the sentence gratefully, hugging him. We need to go now, Todoroki said, taking your wrist and leading you out of the room. Endeavour had indeed arrived, but all the other villains had disappeared, and you sheepishly greeted your father before Todoroki dragged you past and out of the warehouse. Leave him, your brother said back to you when he saw that you had looked back. Todoroki had read your looking back as a sign that you wanted to say something to Endeavour, but you were actually wondering where Shigaraki had gone. Hey, Shoto? You asked softly as he walked you well away from the building. Yes? Is it weird if I said that I have a crush on a villain? Yes. Do you need mental help? He asked, looking back at you. You forced a giggle. I'm just joking, you lied. Now is not the time to joke, Yin. I know. Your eyes wandered back again, part of you wishing that Shigaraki would appear out of that purple warp gate again and steal you away with him. I actually wanted to get taken by him, you thought. And there ends the Wednesday one shot. I have another one coming next week with Shigaraki and Darby. So stay tuned for that one. See you then.